All right, hey everyone. To those watching this as a recording, we're just going to wait a few moments to see who shows up live. And I'm tuning in from Vancouver Island, Canada, and I have some beautiful hot chocolate elixir that I've created. And hot chocolate is one of my favorites ever since I was a boy. I used to love going down to Starbucks and I would grab a hot chocolate there. And now I've become a bit more extravagant with my choices. Organic coconut milk, amazing cacao powder, and a variety of tonic herbs. So I have some Chinese tonic herbs that are adaptogens, very helpful for the kidneys specifically. I put a blend in here that I make called Healer's Tea. The product I have is actually called Restored Essence. And Healer's Tea is a traditional formula made from 4 Chinese tonic herbs, some of which most of you will be familiar with. Chinese licorice root, goji berries, schizandra berries, and dendrobium. So dendrobium is a type of Chinese orchid. And these 4 tonic herbs help to replenish the kidneys, to restore the adrenal glands, to offer a restoration of life force energy. And it's called Healer's Tea because it replenishes the fluids in the yin essence of our being. And often as healers and as givers, we tend to give so much of ourself that we can become depleted. And so this is true for mothers, caregivers, so on and so forth. And in the overgiving, we can deplete ourselves, and that can lead to fatigue, exhaustion, lack of motivation, and all sorts of things that are not ideal for happiness and well-being and thriving in life. So I really love taking these herbs. They keep me energized, they keep me focused, and I just love them. There's something about them that my heart and soul remembers and connects to and feels. And particularly the Chinese tonic herbs, as I feel a strong connection to like the Tibetan, Taoist, Chinese lineages, especially in this and other lifetimes, especially through Qigong meditation. So all that said, this is what I'm sipping on this afternoon. And I see we have someone joining, Chantel, who I know quite well. She lives in the community here. And sometimes she comes to ceremony with us. And we've done quite a bit of work together over the past number of years. So Chantel, it's great to see you here. I'm glad you could join. I saw you were in the attendance, and yeah, really lovely to have you. And yeah, we're going to get started. So, we started this conversation talking about cacao, hot chocolate with these Chinese tonic herbs. And to remember that plant medicine is a vast array of plants, that there's many medicines, many medicinal plants. And although none of the plants within this hot chocolate are psychedelic in nature, they all affect us on a physiological level, of course, but also on a spiritual, energetic level. So all plants have a spirit, and those spirits can communicate with our energy. They can communicate with our emotional astral body, our mental body, our physical body, and they can support us in our path, especially when we start to build a rapport with the plants, meaning build a relationship with plants. And that takes time. Ideally, you are growing them, talking to them, seeing them in nature, communicating with the plant essences, the spirits of the plants, and they all have unique gifts beyond their physical effects. And some of the most profound experiences I've had in life are with cedar trees, or reishi mushrooms, or locally here we have a plant called Devil's Club, or Jithanjao is the indigenous name for it. It's a shamanic plant, none of which are particularly psychedelic or even psychedelic at all. Very deep, profound experiences with them. So, all that said, we're going to start this session today with a prayer and just a settling in to the space. So, inviting you to close your eyes and bring your awareness inward, bring your awareness into your heart, into your inner being. Today, we're going to be talking about relationships and how relationships are living ceremonies and relationships with our own being, with the Creator, with nature and creation, and with other human beings. So, taking some deep breaths into your heart, bringing your focus into your inner world. I'm going to say this prayer and inviting you to just breathe deeply, bringing all of yourself into this present moment, into the now moment. Creator, Great Spirit, Holy Mother, Father God, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Mother Earth, Father Sky, powers of love and joy and beauty, powers of truth and honesty, courage and bravery, respect, humility, and wisdom. We ask that you would be here with us. Bless us with your presence. May this talk and this ceremony here today be a blessing for all who listen, all who receive it. May it also be a prayer for all those on the path, who are on the plant medicine path, who are enrolled on this website, connected to this organization, all those on this earth who are walking and talking with the Creator, who are on this path of love and betterment of self. We ask that through the great mystery, these words, these prayers, these intentions, the presence here, this recording can be a blessing upon this beautiful Mother Earth for the awakening and evolution of humankind and planet Earth. And so taking some deep breaths into your heart and placing one hand on your heart and rubbing your heart in gentle circular motions. And as you feel your heart smile into this space, as you bring warmth with your hand, smiling into your heart, and cultivating a warm, joyful, fuzzy sensation in your heart. Feeling a sense of love, if it's helpful, you can keep moving your hand or just keep it there. And think of a person or a memory that fills you with joy, love, and warmth as you smile into your heart. Feel a connection to this person or this memory. And feel joy and love within the center of your chest. And so imagine as if this person is right in front of you. This memory is happening right now. And feel this joyful, loving sensation grow stronger and brighter within yourself. Keeping your hand on your heart or placing it on your lap. keeping your eyes closed, and breathing into your heart, bringing all your energy here now. And feel within the center of your chest a tiny star. Imagine a tiny golden star within the center of your chest. And whatever this star touches, it relaxes. It brings love and joy and presence. Feel this golden star, like a single star in the night sky. And breathing into it. This star representing your soul, representing your true nature. This star represents consciousness within you. And this is the space that we want to navigate life from. This is the space that the plants and the teachers of this world guide us to. This place of truth and love and joy. But this is the space that so many of us seek through experiences or people or situations. It's always here within us. When you bring this presence to your relationships, they tend to grow brighter, stronger, more fulfilling and satisfying. So feeling the star filling your chest, knowing that you're always connected to this place within yourself, this innermost being. And coming back to center, back to the present moment, opening your eyes when you're ready. And so I wanted to start this talk, this call, by starting with a practice, that practice that we just did, starting with prayer and dropping us into this space, because we want to be present in life, and that's what ceremony teaches us. So today we're talking about the relationship of relationships to ceremony, and that life is the ceremony. And what really defines our life is our relationships. And so when we navigate life as ceremony and we navigate our relationships as ceremony, it can transform our entire lives at a very deep core level. I know it has for me. So to begin, when we talk about ceremony, that much of this community here sees plants as ceremony. However, there's many ceremonies that don't involve plants, or at least not psychedelic plants. So there's ceremonies like Sweat Lodge, Sundance, Vision Quest. In native traditions, there's fire ceremonies. There's even within churches, there's different ceremonies. And these ceremonies, each one has its own purpose. However, there's a commonality amongst them. And the commonality is that The ceremony is a space to invoke God, to connect to a higher power, and to connect to life moving through you. Connect to the flow of life within you and all around you. To connect to the power of the Most High within you and all around you. And to help you learn how to navigate your inner world and how to use the technology of prayer and intention and meditation to focus your mind and create a better life for yourself. So we know that a ceremony is working if our life gets better as a result of the ceremony. That when we leave the ceremony, our life improves, especially over the long term. So I see a lot of people in our modern world, especially in the Western world, that go from ceremony to ceremony. They go from retreat to retreat. And they're always consuming plants and always going to this place of ceremony. And in that, they go back to their life and things don't actually change. And they're not actually becoming more whole or better people. They're staying in the same ruts, in the same ways of being. And, that's not an optimal way to be operating, because it's a separate thinking that somehow life is different than ceremony, where life in and of itself is the ceremony. So the way that I learned it is that, kind of like when you want to go to a ceremony and someone invites you, and you're like, hey, do you want to come to this ayahuasca ceremony or this sweat lodge ceremony or whatever it might be? We're going this weekend. Do you want to come with? In your humanness, you get all excited and maybe a little nervous. And you're like, okay, let's do it. I'm going to come to and attend and be part of this ceremony. And you make the decision and you get all your affairs in order and you go on the trip, the journey, whatever is needed to arrive. And you arrive at the ceremony and you have your experience. And then you go back to life. And when we're spirit and we're coming into the world of being a human before we incarnate, it's similar. The Creator says, hey, do you want to have an experience on my behalf? Do you want to experience being a human on my behalf? And go be part of this amazing ceremony on planet Earth. And when we say yes to that, we enter the ceremony of being human. And we come to Earth. And whatever we experience here is part of the ceremony. And the Creator gave us these technologies of the plants, the plant medicines, and the technology of the sweat lodge, and the technology of these different ceremonies to help us remember who we truly are, to remember our Divine Mother, and remember our Divine Father, and remember the beauty of this existence, and to remember that we came here to have a beautiful experience on behalf of the Creator. We didn't come here just to suffer or to be in misery. We actually, that's part of the human experience. However, ultimately, we came here to experience the joy and pleasure of being human. So the Creator gave us this opportunity. It's a very blessed opportunity. And He gave us the technology of the plants to help us stay in communion with the divine, to stay in communion with our own soul and heart, and to remember love again and again so that we can bring that into the ceremony of life. So similarly, when you're in a plant medicine ceremony, there's often a variety of rules. So I just see a hawk flying above my house here, a red hawk. So that's a good sign. So within a ceremony, there's rules, and those rules help you to remember, like, oh yeah, I'm in ceremony. So you have to walk in a certain direction. Often it's a clockwise direction. Or, you don't make offerings to the fire, or if you do, it's only with tobacco. And every moment there's an emphasis on being very present and mindful and being in prayer and, staying inward and quiet and maybe not talking too much. Or if you do talk, to keep it relevant to the space. So all of these things are here to help us remember that we're in a ceremony, a plant medicine ceremony, and we go to ceremony to help us remember in the bigger arc of our life that we're here to walk and talk with the Creator every second of our day. So in a ceremony, we're here to walk and talk with the Creator every second of the ceremony. Right? If you're in a sweat lodge, you're there to pray the whole time and to be with the Creator. When you're doing your spiritual practice, you're here to be with the Creator in every moment of your day, every moment of your practice. And as life is the ceremony, we're here to walk and talk with the Creator every moment of the day, every moment of our life. So the going to these plant medicine sits help us remember that so we can bring that into our life. So it's kind of flipping the paradigm upside down, that rather than like living a normal life and then going to ceremony to have some peak experience, life becomes that experience, and then we go to ceremony to rejuvenate, to renew ourselves, and to remember and remind ourselves. So that's how we want to live our life, to live in a loving way. And what defines life as a human, what ultimately defines the human experience is what, right? Like, what is it that makes the human experience what it is? Like, what is the defining aspect of being a human? It's our ability to relate, our ability to be in communication, to have relationship. So humans are very unique in that on planet Earth. We have the capacity to be self-aware. So animals and plants, they have a limitation in that regard. They don't have the same level of self-awareness. They can't self-reflect in the way that humans can. It doesn't mean we're better than. We're actually part of a great circle, and all are equal in the circle. That said, we're given unique gifts and opportunities and a unique experience in our ability to be self-reflective. And in that, we can have, literally, you can have a relationship with your own self. And you can have a relationship with God. And you can have a relationship with all of creation. And you can have a relationship with other people, of course, other humans. And so relationships are this core part of the ceremony of life. They are what define our human experience. If you have beautiful relationships, your human experience will be so wonderful. If you struggle in your relationships, it will create quite a challenging experience of being human. I know for me, some of my greatest joys and peak experiences have come through relationships with other humans, and some of the most challenging, difficult, and traumatic experiences of my life have come through relating with other humans. So it's this double-edged sword, that it can be a source of great suffering and sorrow, or a source of great joy and beauty, these human relationships. And so when we see these relationships as ceremony, we can then also release our judgment of them. Because part of what makes relationships challenging is how we judge them, how we want them to be a certain way. We have all these emotional attachments in relationship. So, I was talking earlier with a woman named Wolfie. I don't know if you guys know her. She's part of the plant medicine path, and she did this intake call. And she told a story while we were talking, and it reminded me of my own story and how we go to ceremony and we have these peak experiences, but sometimes we don't actually have integrity in our life. We don't actually do the thing that is what the Creator wants us to be doing, which is to live in a loving way. So many years ago, I was down in Colombia participating in a variety of plant medicine ceremonies, and I'd kind of like run away from home, is how I like to call it. Like, I didn't do it with that space or mentality, but I was in my 20s and I was running from myself. I was running around all over the world, running from this elder to that healer to this ceremony to this place, that place, this plant, this vision quest, this sweat lodge. And, there was a rhyme and reason to it. I was learning. However, ultimately, I was seeking something outside of myself to fix the inner turmoil. And I was afraid to actually just be with the inner turmoil. And what home represented was that turmoil. So I didn't want to be at home. And in that, I had neglected some of my family. I didn't take the time to call my family. I didn't take the time to call my brother or my mother or my aunts or uncles. I would see them once or twice a year. And I remember I stayed up all night drinking some San Pedro. And it was early in the morning. The sun had just risen. Everyone had kind of gone to sleep, or they're back in their tents and, eating some food or whatever. And I'm sitting by the fire that had burned all night in the Maloka. Beautiful fire in the very center of this thatched roof and kind of dug into the ground up in the mountains. And I was sitting with this fire, and I had this really spiritual prayer that I wanted to share. And it was this really beautiful prayer. I was like, yeah, I'm going to pray. Because, especially in Colombia and South America, they just have this poetic way of speaking and this poetic way of praying. It's like so beautiful. It's like a poem or a song every time they pray. And so I'm like, oh, I want to make a really good prayer. And it was just me with the Creator. And I start praying. I'm like, I'm going to pray for my mom. And I start praying this really beautiful, really spiritual prayer. And I'm about halfway through the prayer, and I hear the voice of the Creator. And the Creator says, why don't you stop praying for your mom and call her? Just pick up the phone and call her. And I was, in the moment, I was quite humbled. I was like, oh yeah. And it was like, in that simple message from God, there was a transmission of like the living prayer that is good to pray. Like, if there's nothing wrong with praying, and praying is a wonderful practice. There's a power in it. However, life is the prayer. This right now is a prayer. These words that I'm speaking, it's a prayer. Right? Every word you speak is a prayer. It's sending forth energy and vibration and intention into the world. And it can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you speak and what your underlying intention and vibration is. You can be cursing yourself or others, or blessing yourself or others. And so I could offer this tobacco all day to the fire, and yeah, it might have an impact on my mother's life. Or I could pick up the phone and build a relationship with her. And I can invite her back into my heart. And I guarantee you that prayer, I could pray every day and never call her, or I could call her once a week, and calling her is going to have a much deeper impact and effect on her and on me than offering tobacco to a fire. And I got that transmission in that moment. And so, of course, I called her that day or that week, I don't remember, but I called her, and, it took some time for that to really sink in for me. I still didn't fully get it. It took me another year or so to really grok it, or to really get it. And it took my life falling apart, relationship ending, losing my community, losing my job, my home, and losing everything, literally, and losing my sense of self-worth, losing my self-esteem and my confidence. I was a broken man. And I came back to my mother's house, and she invited me in. And that's when I started to really show up to that relationship and realize that that's where the healing, like, I had gone around all these places looking for healing, and the healing was waiting for me right there at home in my relationship with my mother and in my relationship with my father, who had passed away. However, there was a lot of repair and healing that needed to happen with my father as well. And it's a lot easier in some ways when someone is not on earth any longer, because their ego is not present. So you can really, if you're willing to go to those places, you can do a lot of healing. However, when the person is still here, if they're willing to meet you in it, it's so powerful, it's so potent. And it's harder, but it's more fulfilling and more potent. So don't wait till that time when the person's gone. It's never too late, but do it while they're here. Whoever you have conflict with, spend some time to bring blessings to them. And so right now, if you just imagine, just take a moment. We'll do a little practice here, a short couple minute practice. I like to incorporate practices into these teachings. So think of someone in your life who you need to have some sort of repair with. It can be someone who you still talk to, someone you don't talk to. They can be alive, they can be dead, doesn't matter. Anyone that you feel you need to have repair with. Maybe they've hurt you, you've hurt them, whatever, doesn't matter. There's some energy there, there's some conflict there. And just take a moment to pick that person. It can be anyone. And close your eyes and imagine that person in front of you. And imagine them happy. Imagine them smiling. Imagine them in their best state of being. And notice how that feels in you. And now imagine this person miserable. Imagine them crying, angry, distraught. And notice how they feel and how you feel. And now imagine them happy again. Imagine them in front of you happy. Imagine them joyful. Notice how they feel. Notice how you feel as they're joyful and happy. And feel your genuine well wishes towards them. That they be joyful and happy. Imagine a golden thread from your heart to theirs. And feel love moving from your heart to their heart. Forgiveness, joy, blessings. Feel their gladness and your gladness. Now taking a moment to feel your higher self as if it's a beautiful star about a foot above your head, a golden light, a beautiful radiant star above your head, and imagine a golden, beautiful, radiant star above their head, both of your higher selves. And see these higher selves who are guiding you and your little human self and guiding this other person in their little human self. And can you feel the divine perfection of this orchestration? Whatever this conflict or problem is, that your higher selves have brought each other into your life to learn these lessons, to receive blessings and insights. And can you feel your higher selves supporting both of you? Shining light upon your egos and your personalities. And in this moment, can you see that your higher self and their higher self is actually are working together? That you're both working together for the highest and best good of all. And can you trust that it's all going to work out as it needs to, as it's meant to? And in this moment, ask your higher self and their higher self to support you in forgiveness, in healing and repair. So asking your higher self and their higher self to support in healing, forgiveness, and repair. And so be it. May it be so. So, opening your eyes whenever you're ready. And so this teaching conveys an important message that relationships come to teach us lessons, and sometimes relationships come to teach us through a hardship and a difficulty, a breakup, a betrayal. They come to teach us a lesson. And sometimes relationships come that are beautiful. They teach us what it means to open our heart and feel love beyond our wildest dreams. Sometimes relationships are meant to be so beautiful and amazing, and sometimes relationships are meant to be hard and difficult because our souls and our higher selves, it's how we teach each other. So if you think about it, like if you were God, and God was like, God as this, God not as this entity, but as consciousness itself. That God as the very fabric of existence, God is the creator of all, that all is God, all is made of God. And God loves all of creation. God made all of creation, so just as our parents love us, God loves us. And God sees and hears your prayers and your suffering, and God wants to help you work through it. How do you think God would reach you, especially if you're not able to hear him or her? Right? God is going to use people. God is going to speak through people. So a good example of this is that I was recently at a sweat lodge, and it was the closing sweat lodge. This was a sweat lodge we built about 3 years ago, and it was the closing of a cycle. The land was shifting owners or stewards, and it was time to release and let go of this sweat lodge. So it was a closing ceremony. And in this, I knew that it was a new beginning in my life. And one way we can symbolically create a new beginning is we can burn our clothes or burn our belongings. And, part of what, like I used to live on this land where the sweat lodge was. I moved about a month ago. And part of why I left is because the creator started speaking through my neighbor. And the way the creator was speaking through my neighbor was that the neighbor started complaining to the local bylaw and the government about what we were doing there, causing all sorts of problems. Because here, if you complain to the bylaw, they start breathing down your neck. It's a whole thing. So they started complaining about what we were doing because we were helping people, and they just wanted to be alone, I guess, and they didn't want ceremonies happening. Whatever their reason, I don't know. They never told me, but they started causing problems. And at first, I felt victimized. I felt like, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to help people. I'm just trying to make a difference, and why is this? And then I stopped and really prayed into it and realized, oh, like it's because God is speaking through my neighbors. It's time for me to move on. And I'm not able to hear God in my stillness. So God needed to speak through someone. And often we listen through pain because pain really is like, whoa, this is uncomfortable. I can't bear it. So I needed that fire lit under me to make a choice. And so I did. And so that's kind of some context for the neighbors. So as I'm driving to the sweat lodge, I think I have the thought, should I burn my clothes? Because I had this set of clothes that for me represented an old identity and represented the ceremonies. I said, should I burn these clothes? And it was a passing thought. I moved on. I didn't give it too much more. And I thought, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And then we get there. My friends now live on that land. We light the fire for the sweat lodge, which is this big, huge fire. It's like a bonfire size because you have to cook all these hot rocks on it. And as we're lighting the fire, my friend said, I just got a call from the landlord. I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, the neighbors just called and complained. They said that we are burning clothes and that they're threatening to call the fire department. And I just start laughing. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Because literally just 2 hours ago when I was driving here, I had the thought, should I burn my clothes today? And keep in mind, like, I haven't burnt any clothes yet. It was just a thought. I hadn't burnt them yet. And it was just a normal fire. No clothes. It was just wood. Just a regular old wood fire. Big, huge wood bonfire, whatever. So in that moment, I was like, thank you, God. You answered my prayer. You spoke through this person to deliver the message that I need to hear because the burning of my clothes is important, or you wouldn't have done that. It was a very important moment because we can, through these symbolic acts, it adds power to our prayers. It puts our skin in the game. It says, I want to change and I'm willing to let go of these clothes that are dear to me, that I identify with, that I love, that I cherish. I'm letting them go, not because I disrespect them, but because I know that when I let that go, it's also letting go of that which I need to release within myself. So I gave thanks, and after the sweat lodge was done, I got my clothes and I threw them on the fire. I burnt them and said a good prayer. And everyone was looking at me because I stripped down naked and burned my clothes. They were like, what's this guy doing? I didn't really tell anyone what I was doing. I just burnt them. I mean, I still had my underwear on, but I burnt everything else. So, this is through relating with the Creator, through relating with the fire, through relating with my neighbor. Even though it was not the most comfortable relationship, I could orchestrate a bigger ceremony of my life. So, this is one way we can look to this. Another way is through our intimate relationships. So, intimate relationships being those people who are close to us, those people who are dear to us. So we want to connect with those people and see those relationships as ceremony in and of themselves. When you go home for Christmas, because Christmas is coming up here, it's November 21st, and when you go home for Christmas, seeing that time with your family as ceremony, seeing that time as a time of mirror, ceremony, growth, transformation. Because ceremony is here to help us transform. Ceremony is here to help us shift and change and grow in ourselves. So all relationships are mirrors. Relationships come here to mirror us. So when your relationships aren't working the way that you want them to or you think they should, it's often because they're trying to show you something about yourself. That you are the common denominator in your relationship. So if you have problems with a person and you have problems with another person and you can see a pattern and it's clear on the outer, it's good to take some time to look on the inner because you are the common denominator in all of your relationships. So when we look to relationships as a ceremony, we look to them as mirrors. And if you want the mirror to change, then you need to smile. If you want the mirror to smile, then you need to smile. If you just think of looking in a physical mirror, right? If you don't like what you see in the mirror, then you need to change how you're expressing. You know, if you're all miserable and frowning and you say, man, I want to see a happier version of Robbie in the mirror, then smile. So first you smile and then the mirror changes. So it's the same with relationships, that when you change yourself and you change your innermost being, the people around you will change. So have you ever had those days where you feel really high and you're just like joyful and kind of on cloud nine? And you go out in the world and you orient to the world with that joy. Often everyone is reflecting it. You go to the cafe, you go to the grocery store, people are lighting up, people are happy to see you. And suddenly you feel so good because there's all this beautiful mirror outside of yourself. And then other days where you feel tired or depressed or unwell, then people reflect that. People will show you that. I know for me in my intimate relationships, I've always noticed that if I change my being, the other person will start to change with me, for better or for worse. So if I'm in an argument and I start getting into reaction, then the other person will start reacting. And if the other person, like if I change and stop reacting, then the other person will often stop reacting. There might be a delay, but they're going to mirror me. So we all have that power to lead and govern our relationships. And when we see it as such, then we can take action accordingly. We can say, oh, instead of resisting a relationship that doesn't feel good, we can come at it from a place of openness, from a place of curiosity, from a place of, oh, what is God trying to teach me about myself through this person? What is the Creator trying to show me through this person? And that's really where the juice starts to flow. Right? So instead of me getting in a big conflict with the neighbor, feeling all negative, instead I'm like, oh, what's God trying to teach me through this neighbor? And then it becomes a blessing. Even though the neighbor is being annoying and obnoxious, I can see as, oh, there's a blessing here. I'm learning, I'm growing through it. So it's the same in relationships, that when your partner, particularly in an intimate relationship, when your partner is reacting or in trigger, when you see it as, oh, okay, this is like the moment in the ceremony where I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. So if we relate it back to the idea of plant medicine, there's a moment with the plants where maybe you drink some ayahuasca or some peyote. And often there's a time when you start to purge and your stomach might start to churn and you start to feel nauseous and your body's starting to release something. And it doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. But it's ultimately getting you well. And there could be a moment in the ceremony where you feel worse than you've ever felt, but it's teaching you something. It's helping you let go of something. In the sweat lodge, sometimes it gets so hot it's like unbearable, but it's teaching you something about your mind. It's making you stronger. It's clearing something really deep from you. So those moments in ceremony prepare us. They prepare us because they teach us how to hold our center. They teach us how to hold our center in the chaos of life. They teach us how to hold the center of our being when life is in chaos, and often life is in chaos when the people around us are in chaos, or when our inner world starts to become chaotic. So it prepares us to learn how to hold our center in a good way. So when that person is reacting, if you hold your center, you will respond. So let's say your partner is speaking negatively to you. They're getting angry, maybe they're yelling, maybe they're saying something that's disrespectful. The knee-jerk reaction is to usually either fight back or withdraw, right? Those are the two main reactions, kind of fight or flight or fix. So there's really three main reactions. So now we're going to go into a bit of teaching around relationship dynamics as it relates to seeing it as an opportunity for self-mastery, as an opportunity to know yourself, as an opportunity to master your emotions and your reactions and how you show up in the world, which is what really makes a difference in your life. So someone reacts, they get mad, they start projecting on you. They're in reaction, they're hurt, they're scared, and maybe they're fighting, they're saying something mean to you. Now, naturally, there's a reaction in the system, and it's fight, which is then either getting mad at them or fighting back, saying other words that try to dominate them or overpower them. There's flight, which flight can either be literally just running away and avoiding the conflict altogether, or more commonly, it's shutting down. So, maybe you're someone who shuts down. What that means is like you freeze, you don't know what to say, you kind of get in a freeze or a fawn response where you just kind of become complacent or submissive in a way that's not healthy. So that's another form, which is flight, or fix. And you start thinking, okay, my partner's upset, they're triggered. What do I have to do right now to put this fire out? What do I have to do to fix them? How can I change how I am or say the right thing so that they relax or they let go of this trigger, and you try to fix it. And all of those are forms of reaction. And when we react, it tends to create more of the same. So it's kind of like, imagine there's a fire burning and you want to put that fire out. You could pour water on it and that will tame the fire, or you could put more wood on it, which will make the fire worse. Or you could spray it with a fire, what do you call that? Blanking. But when yeah, it's so funny. I can't remember the name in this moment. Anyways, the thing you put fires out with. And when we react, it's like putting more wood on the fire. It's like saying, oh, I want to fix this, I'm going to just put more wood on and try to choke it out or something. But what we really need to do is pour water on it, and that's when we respond. So when we respond, we move from a space of centeredness. We take an assessment of the situation. We move from our center in a place of love, and we say, okay, like, what's going on here? We assess the situation, and we speak from truth, we speak from love, and our soul guides us in that moment. Your soul will guide you how to move through that conflict. Sometimes that means, apologizing. Sometimes it means walking away, but talking about it first, saying, hey, I'm going to walk away, I'm going to take a moment, I need to ground myself, or take a moment to get some clarity, I'll be back. Sometimes it means holding your partner, especially as men. Sometimes the best thing we can do is take our partner in our arms and hold them. Other times, no, that's the worst thing you can do. It's a very intuitive experience. We have to listen to our heart in it. And this is where the ceremony prepares us, right? Where we are prepared through the ceremony to hold our center so that rather than react, we can respond. Because responsibility is the ability to respond. So when you respond, you're taking responsibility for your inner self. You're no longer reacting and projecting. So when we're in reaction, we're constantly looking outside of ourselves. We're in blame, we're in shame, we're in projection, we're in finger pointing. So reaction, that's why reaction never fixes anything. It only makes it worse. Or at the very least, keeps it at the same temperature, which is not a pleasant temperature, right? So when you're in reaction, you're in usually frustration, judgment, anger. You're pointing the finger at the other person, and you're not in a space of responsibility. Because reaction is there for a reason. It's a primal response. It's like you're being attacked by another human. Let's say you're out in nature, out in the wild, and you're more of an animal type human, and you're being attacked by another human, or suddenly there's a big jaguar that jumps out of the bushes. You don't have time to do anything but react. You have to react, and you have to just say, this thing is attacking me, my life is in danger, I'm going to react and kill it because it's life or death, right? I don't have time to think, oh, but it's a living thing and I love jaguars, or this is another human and they have a family. It's like, no, this other human is trying to kill me, and I don't have time to be compassionate. I need to like act and react and just do the thing, right? Whereas in the modern world, our system might perceive someone as threatening us, and it can feel like emotional, like death, but ultimately we don't, like, reacting isn't going to help. That primal response isn't helpful in that moment. We want to respond. We want to respond by having the ability to respond, the responsibility of our inner world. So when you're being attacked by a jaguar, it's not a time to think, okay, I'm feeling judgment and I'm feeling triggered and there's a lot of fear, and I'm going to sit with that and be with it. It's like I'm going to be responsible for how I feel. It's not the jaguar's fault. By then, the jaguar has already eaten you. You're dead. You don't have time for that. You don't. It's not the time. It's not the place. But in relationship, that's the practice we want to cultivate. We want to stop reacting and take responsibility. And that can be as simple as just saying, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to walk away. I'm overwhelmed. I need a moment to breathe. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling a lot. I'm feeling a lot of anger. I really need right now to just know that everything's okay. I need a hug. Whatever, getting in touch with what you need and asking for it. So that's how we want to respond. Similar to in a ceremony, it's like you're getting well. It's like, hey, I need to step away from this circle where I'm going to throw up on everyone. And no one wants that. It's like, that's the equivalent of just reacting to someone. You just emotionally throw up on them. In the ceremony, it's like you're in a circle, you're about to throw up. It's like, yeah, that's a good time to walk away and tell someone and say, hey, I need to get well. And then they'll tend to you. So similarly, that's taking responsibility in the ceremony space. In life, we want to take responsibility by saying, well, I'm feeling a lot of anger, projection, reaction. This is not a time to try to talk about it. And as I speak this, I still learn it. In the moment of conflict, it takes incredible discipline and self-control to not be in the constant reaction. Because there's this tension that we get stuck in. And sometimes we get stuck in it because we want to come out the dominant one. Sometimes we get stuck in it because it's uncomfortable and we love this person and we want it to be all okay. And it doesn't feel safe or good to walk away from that until we know all is well. Because it's like, oh, if I walk away, what if it never gets better? What if they abandon me? What if they leave me? What if they feel abandoned by me walking away? Whatever the story is. So there's a lot on the line, or so it feels there's a lot on the line. We want to get okay with that and know that by walking away, we can, or by taking space, or by taking a moment, taking a breath, coming back to responsibility, we are going to create a much better outcome. Because then we'll start to show up and change how we look, and the mirror will change. The person will change, and if they don't change, if that person is unwilling or unable to take responsibility, then that's also an insight. That's something that shows you about where that person's at emotionally. And for me, I really value responsibility in relationships. I really value integrity. I really value people that want to meet me in that. So if someone's unable to meet me in it, then by me taking responsibility, I get to see where they're at. And if they don't meet me in it, then it's like, okay, maybe this person is not the person for me, right? Whether it's a partner, a friend, or whoever. So relationships, intimate relationships, those that are close emotionally, are always going through periods of harmony, disharmony, and repair. So it's like a ceremony. There's times in the ceremony where everything's harmonious, hunky-dory, things are great, open heart, talking to God, and then there's going to be disharmony. You're talking to God, your heart's blasted open, then suddenly that old trauma or wound arises within you. And it's like, oh my God, disharmony. I'm back in my pain body. I'm back in my misery. Okay, I'm lost. I'm stuck. Okay, now I have to repair. Now I have to doctor myself. I have to heal myself. I have to learn how to be with this with loving presence and repair. And then it returns to harmony. And then maybe there's another moment of disharmony. So that's how it is in ceremony. That's how it is in life. And that's how it is in relationships. You're constantly going through periods of harmony, disharmony, and repair. And we want to learn how to, like, when you're in harmony, all is well. The secret is to learn how to navigate the disharmony from the center, from your center, from that golden star, that place within your heart, and to know how to bring it into repair, how to bring it into right relation, which always comes from both people taking responsibility. That's what repairs things, right? So if you don't take authentic responsibility, you can't make an authentic apology. And if you don't take authentic responsibility for your pain and hurt, you cannot authentically forgive. So the apology and forgiveness is part of the healing and repair, always. And until both people take responsibility and they both come to a place of forgiveness and apology and ownership, it's very hard to repair. You might be able to repair as an individual, but the relationship, very hard to repair. So that comes through self-responsibility. Okay, so let's say you have a conflict with someone and you feel hurt and they feel hurt. Well, both people have a story about the other, and both people may feel like they're justified in their pain. But the truth is, you both created the conflict. Therefore, you both have something to own in it. It doesn't matter who started it. What matters is that you both want to come into harmony again. There's a desire for harmony. Humans desire harmony. Humans desire love. Humans desire joy and pleasure. That's why we want to be in relationship, for the love, the joy, the pleasure. So that's what is found through harmony. So we all desire it, and that's why disharmony is so uncomfortable. So we both need to realize that we contribute to the conflict and then take responsibility for it. And there's a little equation that's helpful, which is like, if you're in conflict with someone, you're both contributing to the conflict. That said, it's not always a 50-50 deal, right? So like, let's say someone is, let's just say, for example, you have a past experience in relationship where there's a lot of trauma around making food. Maybe you had a partner in the past who, whenever you made food, they would talk down to you, they would be mean, they would get abusive, and they would tell you how bad your cooking is. And it's like you have all this trauma around food and cooking food and being with your partner with that. And now you're in a whole new relationship, but that trauma is still there. You start making the food, and your partner says, "Oh, you should take those eggs off the oven. They're gonna overcook." And your partner is just saying that to be like, "Hey, we should, it's gonna overcook. We gotta fix it." But you interpret it, and all that pain body comes up, and you get triggered, and suddenly there's all this pain, and then you project on them and get all mad and reactive. It's like, and then that person, then your partner shuts down and feels bad, and their heart gets closed and all this stuff, right? And then that creates more problems because now they're triggered and then they react, and then it creates this whole big fight. It's like, it doesn't matter who started it. What matters is that you're now in disharmony and it's time to repair. So in that context, the person who had the trauma from past relationships, they might be responsible for 90% of the problem here, right? Meaning they contribute, because they had such a strong reaction and pain around it, they're responsible for 90% of that conflict. And maybe that other person's only responsible for 10%. But they're still responsible for 100% of that 10%. And this person is responsible for 100% of that 90%. you're not responsible for their percentage and they're not responsible for your percentage. So then, in owning 100% of whatever is yours to own, you can alchemize it and shift it. And then when you come back together and talk about it and share about it and come back into harmony once you have the clarity, now there's healing. Now there's repair. Now you can return to harmony. And often, if it's done with grace and love and forgiveness and joy and beauty, you will grow closer because of it. Because a perfect relationship is not in harmony 100% of the time. A perfect relationship goes through these cycles, and these cycles happen and grow the love and grow the capacity for love in the connection. So it's normal to go through these things. And one of the secrets of this is learning to be intimate with each other in an emotional way, learning to be vulnerable. I know for me in relationship, I found it very hard to be vulnerable for much of my life. I didn't know how to share my inner world. So I didn't know how to be intimate. I often felt separate and disconnected from my partner. So remember, what is intimacy? Intimacy is into me you see. Intimacy. Into me you see. It is revealing your inner world, revealing your inner self. What's alive within you? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it beautiful? Is it painful? Revealing that. Because no one knows what's happening inside of you. You have to reveal it. I didn't know that. It's like somehow I thought, everyone knows what I'm experiencing in here. And I didn't, it was a block. It was this weird blockage, disconnection I never learned. And eventually, through much pain, I learned, revealing brings closeness, withholding brings separation. So when we reveal in a grounded way, in a loving way, it brings us closer because we're sharing our inner world and we're listening to love. When we withhold and hide, it creates distrust, disharmony, and imbalance. When we withhold, it comes from fear. When we reveal, it comes from love. So, if you're feeling something and triggered, revealing it in a grounded way is the best, always. It's like a good example. I mean, most of the time. I'll explain a bit more. So, for example, like a lot of times in relationships, we may be experiencing something. Maybe someone's having doubts. Maybe you're having doubts about your relationship. You're feeling like, I don't know if this is the person for me. You're like, I can't tell them. They might get triggered. They might get hurt. They might freak out and leave me. And I'm doubting, but I don't want to end the relationship. So I'm just going to keep this to myself. I don't want to stir the pot. And then you withhold. And then that person can feel intuitively. They feel that there's something going on, but you're not sharing. It starts to create distance. You're walling yourself off. Creating distance. That then creates more doubt because now you feel less connected to this person. And that person may be more likely to now go off and, cheat on you or leave you or make a different choice because there's more separation. Whereas if you simply come to your partner, the person you are walking in life with, and say, hey, I'm feeling doubt and I'm not saying I don't want to be with you. This is just my experience. I want to share it with you because I love you and I want you to know where I'm at, and I also want to work through this and find clarity and know the right way to move forward together. And sometimes just in that revealing in a way that's grounded and healthy and clear and loving can release the doubt. Or maybe your partner says, I'm doubting too. And then it comes to this place of you realizing you're not supposed to be together. So you never know where it might lead you. So learn to reveal. And it also isn't something you need to reveal everything all the time. Because sometimes we go to extremes. Like, okay, I just need to reveal everything all the time whenever it's happening. Like, no, I've made that mistake too. It doesn't serve. There's discernment. And we want to reveal, what's important here is when you reveal to your loved one, you want to reveal from a place of clarity. as much clarity as you can have. So a lot of times we start feeling something and it's called a half-baked idea. So it's half-baked, it's not done yet. And you don't want to serve a half-baked piece of bread or a cookie to your guests. It's disgusting. It's not going to be good. It's just weird, doughy, it's not tasty. You want to fully bake it. So when you serve up a half-baked reveal to your partner, it's not going to land well, or to anyone. They're going to be like, okay, this is unclear. And if you need, you take space. You say, okay, I need to take space and bake up this idea. Call a friend. Have a coach or a therapist, someone you can bounce ideas off of. Get clarity. So when you come to the person, you can reveal with clarity. You can reveal from a truthful place. And now they can receive it with clarity. Because once again, relationships are a mirror. So if you come and your half-baked idea is full of doubt and uncertainty and it's not clear, when you share it, it's going to land in that other person with that vibration and energy. And they're going to mirror that most likely. And then it's going to create more of that. Now both of you are confused and uncertain and all the rest. Whereas when you can come with clarity, very powerful, then it'll impact them with clarity. They'll be able to receive it with clarity. It won't trigger them in the same way, most likely. So I was talking with a friend recently, and he talked about this. He had a major life decision that he had to make, and it related to a commitment that he had made to a group of people and to one of his teachers. And he was deciding to make a new choice based on the guidance from his soul and from the Creator. And at first he was coming at it from doubt because he was like, I made this commitment. I said I'd do it. I don't know if I should not. I'm not sure what to do. And he was doubting, doubting, doubting. And when he shared from that place, his community and his teacher mirrored it. It was like they were like trying to talk him into it and trying to say, like, there was all this stuff that was happening that made it more confusing for him. And then he prayed on it, meditated with it, and got really clear. He realized, you know what? I'm not going to do this. God is guiding me elsewhere. He then came to his teacher and said it from that place. He said, I've come to my realization and this is what I'm going to do. And his teacher said, that's amazing. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you found clarity. I wish you all the best. I'm always here for you. I love you. And, that was that. It was all good. So the moment he had clarity, his teacher mirrored it. When he had unclarity, his teacher mirrored it. So the universe works like that. We are the leaders of our life. So lead your life. You're the leader of your relationships as well. Your relationships will mirror you. So learning to be authentic, truthful with yourself, and then reveal from that place of truthfulness, honesty. Your relationships will be clear and clean. They will be truthful. Will be aligned with love, because love and truth are deeply connected. You can't have love without truth. So if you're not being truthful with yourself and with your relationships, then your relationships will lack love. That's just the way of things. So there's a principle that is helpful to understand in relationship, that the way we relate is with our voice and our heart in this relating. Most men have learned to close their hearts through culture, through pain, through conditioning. Most women have learned to close their voices. They've been shut down by others. They've learned to keep their mouth shut because it's not safe to speak truth. Because women speak truth, they're very truthful. And sometimes people don't want to hear truth. They don't want to hear the oracle nature of a woman, because people get invested in their lies. And so emotionally or even physically, women's voices have been shut down for a long time. The controlling and abuse of women for generations has done this. The best way to enslave someone and control them is to take away their voice. So as men, when our hearts are shut down, we begin to harden and we can no longer feel the impact we're having through our heart. We don't, when men can become cold and they can fall into the shadow of the male ego, the shadow of the warrior, where they can no longer feel and they can do horrible things and say horrible things and control and dominate and abuse. And in that, they don't feel it. They can't feel the impact they're having because their heart has been closed. So when a heart is closed or voice is shut down, it's very hard to connect intimately. So this is where if we want to create a loving union with someone and create good relationships, we need to open our heart and open our voice. And it's not gendered. Some men have shut down their voice, some women have shut down their heart, some people are shut down in their voice and their heart. So in order for you to have this type of relational field with your partner and create this beautiful ceremonial connection of mirroring and growth and transformation within relationship, your heart needs to be open and your voice needs to be free. So we're going to do a little practice for the last 10 minutes or so of this session. And we're going to start with opening our voice and our hearts. So we'll start with our hearts and then we'll move into our voice. So closing your eyes and feeling your voice, your throat, and feeling your heart. And just noticing what's alive in your throat. Is it open, closed? Does it feel free or constricted? Can you feel any tension? Take some deep breaths. And to help open your throat, imagine there's a string at the very top of your head, pulling your head up so that your head goes high, your spine straightens, and your chin comes down ever so slightly. So when you lift your head up, like there's a string lifting your head up, you'll notice that your chin naturally comes down a little bit, the back of your neck straightens. This helps to organize your throat chakra. It helps to close your gate at the back of your head and the back of your neck, which is a gate that should remain closed. It's a very delicate, sensitive area. Helps with the optimization of your throat chakra. So feeling that, feeling your throat with whatever's alive there. And wherever there's tension, wherever there's blocked energy, put all your awareness there and feel it. Let yourself fully feel it. Let go of any tension. Wherever there's resistance to whatever energy is alive in your throat, let go of that resistance now and just allow it to be there. Fully embrace any tension within your throat. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Just allow it to be so. And now, what would it feel like if your throat was fully free and open? What would it feel like if your throat was fully free and open? How would that feel? Can you feel it now? What would it feel like if your throat was completely free and open, if it was light and loving? And now switch back to your throat, feeling closed and constricted. Imagine your throat is fully shut down. So we're going to switch back and forth. This helps to create contrast and uses the power of your mind to create your reality. So imagine now that your throat is fully shut down, as if someone's hand is over it, as if there's shackles around your throat, as if you're not allowed to speak. And feel that for a moment. Feel the heaviness, the stuckness. What does it feel like to be fully shut down in your throat? Be fully in this, immerse yourself in it. Be in the discomfort. Notice how negative the experience is. And now switch back. Take a deep breath, let that go, and imagine your throat being fully open and free. Imagine the shackles being released. Imagine total freedom in your throat. What does it feel like for your throat to be fully open now? Fully free. Free to express, free to sing, free to speak. What does it feel like to free your voice? For your voice to be fully free, open, your throat to be fully free and open. Feel the lightness, the joy, the levity. Imagine all the things you could say, all the truth you could tell, all the lives you could touch. Keeping your head straight, your neck straight. And now go back for just a moment, just to experiment, just to see how it feels now to close down your throat. What does it feel like to fully shut down your throat? What does it feel like for those shackles to be put back on? Be fully with it. Allow yourself to fully feel it. Notice how it may be less intense now, or more, who knows. Imagine your throat is fully shut down, fully blocked. You're not allowed to speak. You'll be killed if you speak. You'll go to jail if you speak. Your throat is totally shut down. Your voice is totally suppressed. What does that feel like? Can you be with that? Can you imagine it? Just being with that for a few more moments, as much as you can. Now bringing your head up high, taking a deep breath and imagining your throat being open again. Go back to your throat being fully open, fully expansive, free. Free your voice. What would it feel like if you could speak your truth? You could speak with eloquence, you could speak with love, you could sing, you could say whatever you want, and it would land with beauty and grace in the world, and power and wisdom. What does it feel like for your throat to be fully open, radiant, loving? Imagine that now. Feel it. Be in it. Feel the lightness of an open voice. Feel the love of an open voice, an open throat. Feel expansion and bliss in your throat. And now, with this open throat, we're going to do 3 ohms together. So we'll do 4 actually. I'll do the first one. You can join in, and then we'll do 3 more after that. So, expressing this open voice, expressing this channel being open, using the power of the Om to radiate bliss and freedom and cleansing. And with these Oms, may it cleanse any fears, any negative programs, any projections, any judgments from others or judgment of self towards your voice. May it free that. May it release any shackles, any bindings, keeping your voice suppressed. And may it help the full opening and flourishing of your throat chakra and your voice. So taking a deep breath. Really feeling this in your throat. And 2 more. And once more. Closing your eyes, feeling your throat, feeling your voice, feeling the opening. So, how does it feel to vibrate your throat? How does it feel to open your throat, to free your voice? May this bless your voice. May it bless the words that you speak. May it bless your channel. May it open you to greater levels of joy and expression and intimacy. May it support your connection with your prayer, your relationship with God, with your own heart, with others, with nature. All ceremony involves the voice. It involves invocation, prayers, songs, and all relating is through the voice and the heart. Open your voice, and you'll find all your relationships benefit. Learn to speak truth, be authentic, have integrity in all your relationships. Align your voice with the truth of your soul, the truth of your being. And every word becomes a blessing. Every sound. And so we've run out of time, so we'll leave the heart for another time. If you want some heart opening meditations, you can find them on my insight timer. I have some various heart opening meditations. So remember to relate deeply in relationship, to make the ceremony of life beautiful. Open your heart and free your voice. To walk and talk with the Creator every second of your day, to build that relationship. Open your heart, free your voice. To have a good human experience, open your heart, free your voice. It makes the ceremony of life so beautiful, so wonderful. And so if you'd like to learn more about my work, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Insight Timer. I have a variety of offerings around the teaching shared here, around living love, walking and talking with the Creator, building good relationships with yourself, with others, with God, with this medicine. And I would love to hear from you. So stay connected, reach out, and have a beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.